The Atlanta Braves are off to a fantastic start. April Fools. It's April 1st, 2025. This is Mets Daily. Subscribe to Mets Daily. Share the channel. Smash that thumbs up on the video right now. I'm Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Rated. There's a thumbs up. We were waiting for one of those emojis to come up. Comment below. The best 3 comments from today's show will be read in the Hump Day mailbag tomorrow. So comment below. What do you think of the Braves start? And what do you think about the Mets start? Now, we had a post-game show after. If you missed it, go back and watch. Terrific win. Pete Alonso grand slam. Siri getting involved. Acuna. Everyone in the lineup with a hit. Torrens with a homer. Nimmo with a homer. David Peterson was great. Huascar Braziban was great. Danny Young sucked, but there was a perfect time to suck is when you're up 10-1 and you could afford giving up 3 runs. But otherwise, it was a terrific effort from the Mets in a win down in Miami against the Marlins, who were 3-1, now 3-2. And the Marlins probably going to finish in last place. So these are the teams you got to beat up on. The Mets did that on Monday. They'll look to do it again tonight. We'll preview that game. Well, we made fun of the Braves here. Jerks and Profar suspended 80 games. Well, for the Mets, their ace, Sean Manaea, is going to be out a little bit longer. We found out today from manager Carlos Mendoza that Sean Manaea has unfortunately suffered a setback for the New York Mets, and not the greatest news. He experienced discomfort while ramping up, and an MRI revealed inflammation in his oblique, and he received a PRP injection. He will be shut down for 2 weeks. What that means for Sean Manaea is the earliest he's back is Memorial Day. He's shut down 2 weeks. It's April 1st. That means he's shut down till at least April 15th. And then he's going to need a full month ramp up. You know, and you assume the first 2 weeks he's going to throw light. Then he might throw a little bit more serious. So assuming there's no other setback, the earliest I would guess is late May for Sean Manaea. So the Mets got to go, a third of the season without Sean Manaea. It sucks, but this is why you get depth. And so far, there's no reason for concern. David Peterson was terrific. Griffin Canning was good. McGill was great. Clay Holmes not as great. Again, this is why we talk about Clay Holmes in this rotation. Now he has even a bigger role. Like, they need Clay Holmes to really be good now because 2/3 of the season is a good amount of time. So essentially, up until the time where the Mets turned their season around last year, they will be without Sean Manaea, who they signed to that 3-year, $75 million deal. He took some deferred money. It ended up being a really good deal for the Mets, a no-brainer. But unfortunately, injuries do happen, and they happen here to Sean Manaea. I think they'll be fine. They'll survive without him. It's not the end of the world, but, just another bit of injury news for the Mets here. Frankie Matas, he might be out till that time too. So for 2 months, they're without 2 starting pitchers. So McGill now, his leash just got longer. We thought Sean Manaea was going to be back late April. Well, now it's a whole month later at this point. It's late May. So Tyler McGill will have more and more chances here to shove for the New York Mets, and he's going to get his shot. And at some point, maybe Paul Blackburn gets his shot. If late April, when these off days are done and by the wayside, maybe the Mets say, hey, we're going to go 6-man with Paul Blackburn until Sean Manaea gets back or until Frankie Matas gets back. But this is what good teams do, guys. They overcome injuries. They overcome these situations. And one guy who suffered injury most of last year, he came back for 1 start and then he got hurt. He hurt his calf, is Kodai Senga. And Senga will take the hill to start the month of April tonight, April 1st, 2025. The Mets, game 2 of a 3-game set down in Miami against the Marlins, 6:40 p.m. on SMY. It'll be Kodai Senga versus Sandy Alcantara, maybe a future Met in a fantastic pitching matchup. And listen, the Mets are going to limit Senga here early. He's not going to go more than 75 to 85 pitches. So my guess is we see 5 innings of Senga tonight, maybe not much more than that. But for Senga, him being healthy is even more critical now. Because if Senga, God forbid, were to go down with another injury, let me knock on wood here, that's 3 starters down for this rotation. And they cannot survive that without getting external help. And Brandon Sproat isn't an answer right now. He's not ready. He got rocked in his season debut in AAA. He needs time there. So big time for Senga, big time Clay Holmes, big time Tyler McGill, all these guys. They got their, the notch just one more notch on the belt. Now it's time to lock in, strap in, because now you got a couple extra weeks without your dark horse, without your big horse in Sean Manaea. So Senga, Alcantara, and Alcantara will take on this lineup. Francisco Lindor back. There he is. Francisco Lindor back after his son, who he had in Orlando. So luckily the Mets ended up being in Florida. He has the baby in Florida. All worked out timing-wise that he stayed in the same state. Not a long trip. Orlando to Miami, and Lindor back in the leadoff spot. Soto, of course, second. Alonso with the big grand slam. And, I'm not going to go as far as my bald brother Sal Licata and say he needed to hit that grand slam there. But I will say this. Alonso needed to drive in runs there. And it was perfect that he did it in grand fashion in his home. And he moves one step closer to the Mets home run record, now 26 homers away from passing Darryl Strawberry on that list. I believe 14 away from passing David Wright. So if Alonso's healthy, he'll get there. But it was good to get off the schneid and hit a homer and do it with the bases loaded. What a moment for Pete. Glad for him to get that. And, I knocked him and said it was his time. It was his time. And I said yesterday, Pete's got to come up clutch. He's got to put better at-bats. Well, that was a hell of an at-bat. Worked the count. You loved right before it, too. He threw the elbow pad off because he swung and fouled the ball off low. That's his weak spot. His pitch is low and away. He swung and fouled it off. His elbow pad kind of came off a little bit. He just chucked it to the side and next pitch homer. That's a Juan Soto aura kind of thing where, you swing and miss on a pitch and Soto says, yeah, you fooled me, and then you hit a piss missile. Well, that's what Pete Alonso did. His elbow pad came off. He barely made contact, and then he hit a grand slam. So he's in the third spot. Nimmo against the righty in the fourth spot. Nimmo breaking out with his first homer. Vientos is 5. Winker back in the lineup against the righty last night. The Mets went with Marte at DH. It's Winker back in the lineup tonight. It's Terren's 7th. And here's the one surprise, and I'm not mad at this, as the mayor of the Acuna Matata fan club, Luis Angel Acuna getting his first start this year against a righty. So the Mets like the spark in the defense that they've seen from Acuna, and now he is going to start over Brett Beatty against the righty. And guys, Beatty has not made enough of an impact yet. It's way too early. But what we've seen so far, Acuna's been the more impactful player. So I'm not mad at this. I think Acuna and McNeil are going to end up platooning anyways. So I'm excited to see Acuna against an elite pitcher in Alcantara. This will be a good test for him against a really good righty. Can Luis Angel Acuna deliver? And the Mets are hoping, hey, low-scoring game, 2 good pitchers. If we could just get Acuna on base, he could swipe some bags. And the guy after him, Jose Siri, in the lineup once again, he could also swipe some bags. So, like I said yesterday, that 8-1, Marte had Lindor's spot. Now it's Lindor back. Lindor, obviously, we know, a 30 stolen base guy. Acuna, Siri, Lindor. That 8-1 trio, if 2 or 3 of them get on base, get ready for small ball. Get ready for the Mets to bring home some runs. I absolutely love that trio for the New York Mets, and Acuna, Siri, and Lindor. So speed, you got that power with really the first 5, 6 guys, even Terren's showing power. This is a powerful lineup. It's a lineup with some speed. It's a lineup with some hitters, with some guys that get on base, and this Mets lineup's going to be scary all year long. So just buckle up and enjoy the ride, baby. It is time to enjoy this Mets ride. And they look to take the series against the Marlins on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, getaway day, and afternoon game tomorrow. So we'll likely either do a post-game show or early show tomorrow before that game, and then Thursday an off day before we head to Citi Field on Friday. Now, the latest weather report in Queens this weekend, it's looking like they'll get Friday's game in it. They'll get it in. Saturday, I think, is still TBD, and Sunday is TBD. There's a chance of rain all weekend. Maybe Saturday or Sunday becomes a doubleheader, but we'll see what it ends up being. But 50 to 70% chance of rain in that range for the weekend. Let me know your thoughts below on the Mets win last night, your thoughts on this lineup. What do you think about the rotation now without Sean Manaea for an extra few weeks? Let us know in the comments. We'll read the top 3 comments on tomorrow's Hump Day Mets Daily Mailbag. I'm Jake Brown. Subscribe to my YouTube at Jake Brown Radio. Follow me on Twitter at Jake Brown Radio, Instagram, TikTok. I do some TikTok lives as well. Follow the show at Mets Daily Show on Twitter. And again, smash that thumbs up, subscribe. We appreciate it. We're over 1,360 subscribers. So keep on subscribing, keep on watching, and let's go Mets. Thanks for watching Mets Daily. We'll talk to you tomorrow. tomorrow.